It was 1977. Star Wars had come out a few months ago, and in autumn, I was in, sixth grade, and I discovered, with the help of some acquaintances, Monty Python's Flying Circus. It was in reruns, I think, since 72 or 71. And so late at night, I would take my little earphone, they called them earphones back then, plug it in the TV, which was not fun, but was a cube, and listened and watched the grainy replays of Monty Python's Flying Circus. And something that just tickled me pink was John Cleese in the middle of a field in front of a desk saying, "Welcome to the BBC's new educational show, How Not to Be Seen." And that has inspired the title of this live stream, How Not to Manifest. But don't worry, if you're as geeky as me and you've seen that episode, I promise you, if you do it, blowing up is not part of the learning curve. We'll leave that to the Python boys. So a lot of folks, when they talk about manifesting, they're taught to be very, very specific, write lists and outlines, make vision boards, visualize, sit cross-legged, and intone. What's wrong with that? Well, good old Lao Tzu, the fellow who composed the 81 poems of the Tao Te Ching, did not teach a medical yin-yang or a sociological yin-yang. He taught a philosophical yin-yang. And in his book, he teaches that when we embrace the yang attributes, we're embracing patriarchy, we're embracing ego, we're embracing being rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. Now those will make you petulant, those will make you cranky, that might make you financially successful in the short term. It could take you many places, but it will not take you to the destination of peace or fulfillment. If you want that, you'll have to use a different path, the path that Lao Tzu recommends, the path of yin. Those who are successfully traversing the path of yin are, let me see if I can get creative here, are flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. There's a phrase you probably heard, nice guys finish last. No. Nice guys can finish first, because they not only get the money that the cranky bastards want, they also get the fulfillment and the peace that these guys never thought of in the first place. So let's do that. Let's find a way to manifest in harmony with yin. And here's one of the most mind-blowing paradoxes. The path of yin is not only more sustainable, it's easier. It comes in two parts: manifesting mindfulness and manifesting meditation. We'll begin with manifesting mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are accessing the sympathetic nervous system, which is ensconced within the thoracic region of our spinal cord. Now, this picture isn't perfect. It's close enough for government work. It's not a picture, it's a painting. We get the idea. It's wired not for active concentration. Think of it this way. But instead it's wired to merely perceive, and to do so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. I should probably make an image of that and put that right over there. That's a future project. Excuse me. Now think about this. I've just told you that we're wired not for active concentration, but for passive awareness. Let's think of this in terms of evolution. Let's go back 500,000 years, 1,000,000 years. The first anthropods have left their trees and are exploring the savanna of Africa. Two of them in particular. One is just studying a ladybug with great intensity. The other is twitchy and they're looking around and they've opened up all their doors of perception. A predator rustles in the foliage. Who do you think is going to notice the predator and run away? The person who's completely sketchy and is completely aware of all their senses? Or the person who is just focused on the ladybug? The ladybug lover winds up his lunch. Spoiler alert. We are the descendants of those who are twitchy enough to be in tune with all their doors of perception. And they reacted to the doors of perception viscerally, intuitively. They did not need to reinvent the wheel. They hadn't invented the wheel yet. So this is crucial, and it is best exemplified by the 12-syllable inhalation phrase, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. Now, lots of boneheads. Sturgeon's Law teaches 90% of everything is crap, including meditation teachers. So a lot of crappy meditation teachers will say, oh no, don't have a monkey mind. Crucify that monkey mind. Beware of anyone who suggests you crucify anything. But they want to nail down your mind. Please don't do that. Listen, our mind is evolved to be playful. What are some of the antics of mind? Mind, because of its sense organs, is able to see, hear, feel, taste, smell, and the like. Internally, mind emotes, intends, reasons, recalls, and imagines. That's a lot. That keeps mind hopping. And that's illustrated in this bit of Tibetan iconography. Consider, if you will, this couple's a sporting and tantric union. The woman, the color of a cumulus cloud, is sporting in utter abandon. That is an excellent example of the playful mind. Her partner, the color of the azure sky on a bright and beautiful morn, is just mellow. He's not trying to control her. He's not threatened by her. He's just sitting back and having a good old time in a very mellow and peaceful way. And that's a wonderful example of mindfulness, of meditation, that we'll get to momentarily. So now that we have the basic nuts and bolts of mindfulness, how do we apply that to manifesting? Glad you asked. So in Tibetan Buddhism, we talk about pacifying and increasing. So as we sit in meditation, the more time we sit, the more we just naturally open up, not only to our environment, but to our inner mind. And things will come to the fore. Things that we dread, things that we want to avoid. Things will also come to the fore that we want to receive, that we want to increase. So things like health and wealth and romance and love and fulfillment, all of these things will come up spontaneously. We do not choose them. We do not act like Lucy Van Pelt in the Peanuts cartoon with a clipboard and a pencil running around trying to say, this will happen here, and this will happen here, and this will happen here. Rather, remember, we perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. We let our inner mind choose what comes up, how it comes up, when it comes up, for how long it comes up. Our job is just to notice it and to do so passively through the cunning use of the silent and mental recitation of words, whether those words be a 12-syllable phrase or a 3-syllable phrase or a 1-syllable phrase. And we'll get more into the nitty-gritty in a few minutes. But basically, is we're choosing the path of yin, the path of vulnerability. Things will come up. things in the present, things in the past. All kinds of things will come up. Pleasurable things, painful things, embarrassing things, funny things, inspiring things. We let them. We don't push them away. We don't choose. We just be completely vulnerable. That is allowing your inner mind to work through its own vision board. But wait, what about meditation? Glad you asked. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we access spontaneously, effortlessly, and automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, which is ensconced within both our lower lumbar region of our spinal cord, as well as the tippy top of our spinal cord's cervical region. It's wired to help us both physically relax and mentally release. And to put a finer point on it, the physical relaxation acts as a carrier wave upon which the mental release serves and hangs 10 and screams out cowabunga. So once again, we can be typified with a 12-syllable recitation that is not, by the way, an affirmation. Affirmations are belief-oriented, and they deal with things that are not reality, things that we wish to become reality, and consequently it feeds our controlling and rigid tendencies. This is not that. This is not an affirmation. It's a description of what's actually going on. And as we exhale, we are relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. And I've got 3 pieces of good news. Number 1, it's not our job to rigidly and superstitiously force ourselves to believe that mind is literally non-graspable when our skull is rather tangible. Number 2, it's not our job to pseudo-intellectually strive to convince ourselves and others, once again, that mind is literally non-graspable. In the 4th grade, we should have been taught that there was not only literal statements, but there are figurative statements, similes, metaphors, hyperbolic statements, and the like. So, every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation can now begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void, as non-graspable as the illusion of the infinite azure sky and a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is most certainly non-graspable to the hand. It could feel as if it was as non-graspable as if it had never been born. It could feel as if it was as non-graspable as if it simply was not. And there you have it, the metaphors of Buddhism revealed. But how does this relate to manifesting? Dun, dun, dun. Wait, dun, dun, dun. There we go. Now, if I was really funny and I was technically savvy, I would push a button and you instantly see a clip of a melodramatic hamster or gerbil, but I don't have that. I'm not that sophisticated, my friends. So, how does this pertain to manifesting? So, during our previous inhalation, we have mindfully noticed whatever comes up, including things that we might dread. And so, by relaxing during our meditation, we are letting go of the tendencies that could lead us in that direction. As we were practicing mindfulness, we might notice things that we actually would desire to happen, that we would enjoy happening. As we meditate, we are letting go of all the obstacles to those things. Like that song, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see no obstacles in my way. Kind of like that. So this isn't active, this is passive. But our tendency to notice and release can cooperate. Remember, we are wired for survival. We have 2, not 1, but 2 reward mechanisms. The second one is oxytocin-oriented. It rewards for fulfillment. The first one is dopamine-oriented. It uses pleasure to reward for A, procreation, and B, anything that supports procreation, including food, shelter, clothing, beverage, and the like. When most people think about manifesting, their first phase of manifesting is dopamine-oriented survival stuff: food, shelter, clothing, money, wealth, sexual opportunities. But they also want to manifest for fulfillment. They want to manifest social influence and fulfilling relationships. And if not immediately, then eventually. We are wired for both. So because we are wired for these things, we don't have to force them. The lie of yang is this: if it's to be, it's up to me. Bullshit. We breathe without choosing to breathe. We experience cellular metabolism without choosing to metabolize. Our little mitochondria chugging away without our supervision. Our brain is evolved to work largely on autopilot, including our survival mechanisms. So you don't have to worry about the wanting enough to have the good things in life. You are already wired for that. We are the descendants of people who were greedy enough for survival and procreation and socialization and meaning to make it happen. So therefore, it is our effortless birthright. It's a birthright behind a wall behind a door with a key, and it's passive awareness and relaxing release that opens the door. Now, I'm going to be honest. It's not always going to manifest the way you think it should. It usually manifests in a better way than you ever dreamt possible. Hence, we don't control, we allow. I look forward to meditating with you several minutes from now. But first, I think it could be more beneficial. Oh, one moment. Good morning, James, and happy holiday to you as well. I think it could be quite beneficial if together as a team we chant this morning's excerpt from the Total Pace, take two, from the Dorje Sampa Namka Che, which translates into English as the Total Space of Vajrasattva. It was composed originally by Gaurab Dorje, or Prahe Vajra, and edited and translated into Italian by the late Chokyal Nomkai Norbo, translated from the Italian into English by Adriano Clemente, adapted by yours truly. Now, before we go any further, allow me to remind you that if at any moment during the remainder of this live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist chanting, or their application, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Together. As nothing is excluded, it is perfectly complete. It is unchanging and remains straight. Although the Dharmakayas' mastery of awareness and letting go is always utterly vulnerable to all things, beings, and phenomena, let's continue. Boundless like space, it is not a phenomena that depends on something else. Let's review the natural state of enlightenment. Every inhalation grants us access to the sympathetic nervous system, which is wired for perception, vulnerably passive, visceral, and random. Every exhalation grants us access to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is already wired to physically relax and mentally release. The mechanisms of enlightenment are factory installed. All we have to do is step out of our own way. So how do these two relate? Although the Dharmakais... Okay, we'll skip the word although. And now let's continue. The spontaneously existing total bliss arises from one's recognition through the very power of incomparable wisdom. Reality does not originate from anything else. The bliss, pleasure dopamine-oriented reward system is wired to crave, is accessed through the wisdom of letting go simply by relaxing in harmony with each exhalation. Be thou not deceived. Something can be very easy and yet be extremely powerful. Together. It is easy and difficult, and it is difficult because it is easy. It is not manifest directly, but is all-pervading. Not even Vajrasattva can point it out with a name saying, this is it. Einstein quipped, any educated idiot can make things more complicated, more difficult, and more violent. It takes a lot of courage and a little bit of genius to do the opposite. The lies of patriarchy strive to convince us otherwise. For, as matriarchy reminds us, although we cannot think our way to enlightenment, we could feel our way there. Together. Oopsie. This amazing, marvelous energy manifestation is beyond action and equal to space. The infinite variables of reality feel like a tumultuous ocean. We cannot control it, but we can surf it. From the ignorances that does not conceptualize anything, it immediately arises within oneself. As Bodhi said to Johnny Utah, fear will make you hesitate, and hesitation will make your worst nightmares come true. Through mindfulness and meditation's centered spontaneity, we surf reality, carefree and at ease. I would like to meditate with you after less than a minute of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. I've spent more than half my life studying, practicing, and then reverse engineering the teachings, techniques, and practices of each school of Buddhism so that I could play the Qui-Gon Jinn to your Yoda and help you to quickly and easily become the person that your dog already thinks you are. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Oopsie, here we go. So For our pre-meditation chant, we're going to perform the recitations of empathetic bodhicitta and enthusiastic refuge. For beginning with a more literal approach, that we're going to set to the triplet chant together. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, by relying on thee, Buddha's example, instructions, and students. These three that are highlighted are so useful. They've earned the metaphoric nickname, the three wish-fulfilling jewels, which is referred to in the more concise and figurative version of the same intention. By the way, these are not prayers to some real or imagined celestial entity. These are simply words that we're using to exercise our empathetic intention. We're going to use the bookend chant together. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. We've already explored the basic meditation technique, so together as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as Yoda on Dagobah under the guidance of the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn. Let us begin with the 12-syllable exercises. Let's shift gears from the 12-syllable exercises to their 3-syllable counterpart. During each inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, notice this. And during each exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, relaxing. Welcome to the Lazy Bastard Path of Enlightenment. What if meditation was not some bullshit you endured until enlightenment got here? What if meditation was blissful? What if you sat in a way and breathed in a way and were vulnerable in a way and relaxed in a way that was like heaven on earth? What follows is an elective. It is not mandatory. When you begin to notice things in your body, especially things that don't necessarily feel good, what we could do is silently and mentally is replace the phrase "notice this" with the word "sensation." So we breathe and we could recite "sensation." As we breathe out, we could recite "relax." Our job is not to change what we feel. Our job is to harness the present moment experience and all its turbulence and use it just the way the turbines, the waterway in a dam harnesses the flow of the water to turn a dynamo. We can use whatever we notice during our in-breath to turn the wheels and cogs of the meditation machine. So if you're noticing an ache or a pain or perhaps a sinus discomfort, sensation, relaxing. If your eyes are closed and you begin to see some sort of a light show, appearance, relaxing. If you begin to hear perhaps your space heater or the whir of your computer or your neighbors or your refrigerator, resonance, relaxing. Because the present moment perception is not an enemy to be thwarted, but a partner to dance with. If you are having a flashback to a real event or perhaps a book or a novel or a piece of music, recollect, relaxing. If you find yourself imagining something from the past or the future, rather than repressing it, simply harness it with the word imagine. If you find yourself rehearsing a conversation, you could label it with the phrase cognition. If you're trying to manifest, or you would like to manifest a romantic partner, bear in mind the first one who jumps out at you is not necessarily the best one for you. Remember, choosy moms choose Jeff. And if someone is not sufficiently compatible with you intellectually, emotionally, politically, spiritually, sexually, they can be your friend. You don't have to hate them, but they're probably not really equipped to be a really fulfilling life partner. And it's okay. You can maintain friendships with people. Not everybody you're gonna love is going to be your compatible partner. The love can simply shift gears from romance to friendship. There is no specific order. Your mind just switches experiences, perceptions randomly, and it can be quite fun to reach for a label that best suits it. Let's not get obsessive. Let's not get perfectionistic. Life is messy. Learn. That's the lesson every toddler teaches us, isn't it? That's the lesson every cat teaches us. What? You like this statue, but I am the Lord thy kitty cat. Thou shalt have no other idols before me. Come, let me use this possession of yours to test whether gravity still works. And then they knock it off the etagere, don't they? So now we're going to switch gears yet again from 3 syllables down to 1 syllable. And as we inhale, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. And as we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite the 1-syllable verb ease, which functions as a synonym for relax. And just as before, we can play with different labels if we want to. There's some redundancy because physical sensation as well as emotions are using the same descriptor, which is kind of cool because some theorists feel that emotions are sensations. We're replacing the word recall with the preposition then. We're replacing the verb imagine with its monosyllabic counterpart dream. but it's basically the same thing. This is very much like scrolling on TikTok or on Instagram. Your mind will notice a sensation, then it'll savor a memory, then it'll hear a sound, then it'll rehearse a conversation. And instead of trying to control it, instead of trying to herd it like an Australian, like a border collie, we just go along for the ride. Consider, if you will, the statues you might have seen of Lao Tzu. The statue of an enormous ox, and perched upon its tuchus is a teeny tiny, scrawny, and wizened old man. Upon the head of the ox there is no, in the mouth of the ox there is no bit, on the head of the ox there is no bridle, in the hands of the old man there are no reins. How? How does the old man control the journey of the ox? He doesn't. The ox is going to go where he wants, when he wants, at the velocity he wants. The old man is just going along for the ride. And that's a wonderful symbol, metaphor for the enlightened journey. Because there is no destination. The path is the goal. As you listen to your body, it will tell you how the most empowered way to sit. All you got to do is listen. In many Tibetan thangkas or tapestries, you'll see a scrawny man with long black hair wearing a white robe, and he'll have a hand cocked behind his ear, and the name of that portrait is Mila, listening to the whispers of the Dharmakaya. That is the journey. Listen to your body, listen to your mind. Enjoy the show. Those who are rigid and elitist and controlling will tell you that the greater the number of seconds between your mind doing something and then you labeling it is an indictment against you. But those people are no fun. It takes however long it takes. Let it happen. And when you're trying to control things, when you're trying to be if you try to maintain a state of rigid readiness, you'll miss the point. It takes however long it takes. Don't beat yourself up. The only goal is to notice and release. That's it. And those things happen automatically. That's one of the things we read in this morning's passage. It's difficult because it's easy. Most people want to make it difficult, and so they miss the boat. If they let it be easy, if they just set aside perfectionism, they arrive instantly. And if you notice an imperfection, guess what? You get to call that think, or you get to call that see. That's it. If you feel disappointed with yourself, you get to call that feel. If you feel angry with yourself, you get to call that feel. And if you think you should give up, you get to call that think. And so forth and so on. And so there is no destination. We're only playing with the eternity of the now. Now, of course, being a geek, immediately I thought about Kubrick's Shining. Come play with us forever. I give you the no elevator full of blood guarantee. Some people find it helpful to keep a steno pad and a pen next to them. And when their mindfulness gives them the gift of an insight on a project they may be working on or a problem they may be having, they can jot it down and then return to the meditation. Because trying to remember an insight can be a burden. What is the test of a teacher? It's simple. It's not their resume. It's not their credentials. It's not their letters of recommendation. It's not their beauty. It's not their fame. It's not their wealth. The test of a teacher are simply the effects that you generate when you apply their advice once every 12 hours for 7 consecutive days. At the end of the week, notice results. Do you have more peace or less peace? More joy or less joy? More resilience or less resilience? More love or less love? If after a week they call you little Darth Vader, you probably should find a better teacher. if after a week you feel like you may be onto something, then perhaps you are. If your eyes are closed, you may wish to open them and acclimate back to the here and now. Let us seal this morning's practice with a bit of the old chanting, beginning with kind ethics and concluding with the 4 immeasurables. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and commerce flow spontaneous and uncontrived. May everyone be free from misery. May everyone be happy. May no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this a live stream. You could even help support this channel if you wish. In approximately 9.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead this evening's meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way. Happy holiday.